Today's news highlights 20250711. Date July 11, 2025. July 11, 114, Republic of China. Time cut-off time, 1500 hours on the same day. News highlights. Although drinking water is a daily routine, there are potential risks such as microplastics, heavy metals, and PFAS. Nurse Tam Dun Chi suggested that the tap water from the previous night should be used for boiling water to avoid lead and copper contamination in the first water in the morning. After boiling, turn on the range hood and continue to cook for a few minutes to help volatilize chlorine. She also cautioned against bottled water and mountain spring water to reduce the intake of microplastics. Experts pointed out that PFAS is difficult to filter, which may cause immune and endocrine abnormalities, and it is recommended to install certified water purification equipment and regularly overhaul water towers and pipelines to ensure drinking water safety. News highlights. In the second half of 2025, under the influence of the evil stars, the zodiac tiger, dog, rooster, and horse may have a crisis of breaking their fortunes. Tiger people are prone to losing money due to impulsiveness or credulity, and need to learn to manage their own finances. Dog people are afraid of sudden expenditure pressure in the workplace, so it is recommended to strengthen the negotiation power of the workplace and seek flexibility for job transfer. Roosters are prone to financial losses due to interpersonal misjudgments, and should deal with emotions and finances rationally. Horse people have frequent and difficult financial expenditures to control, and if they can establish bookkeeping and planning habits, it will help them to stop losses and keep money. News highlights. China's electric vehicle market is showing signs of bubble bursting due to overcapacity and fierce price wars, and a large number of new vehicles are stranded at ports or even scrapped. German media warned Germany not to become a garbage dump for China's inventory vehicles, and called on car companies to make good use of the advantages of fuel vehicles and hybrid vehicles to expand emerging markets to fight low-price dumping. The EU has imposed tariffs, but it is still difficult to stop Chinese automakers from expanding. Germany will need to adjust its policy to promote electric vehicles while retaining fuel and hybrid technology in order to consolidate its position as a global leader in the automotive industry. News highlights. The U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, announced the National Agricultural Security Action Plan, which completely bans China and other hostile countries from buying U.S. farmland, emphasizing that this move is to protect food supply chains and national security. The CCP owns many of the land in close proximity to military bases, raising concerns about espionage and biosecurity. The federal government will recover land sold and strengthen regulations. According to the analysis, this policy may trigger global imitation and severely hit the CCP's overseas expansion and infiltration. News highlights. Studies have shown that walking is the easiest and most effective way to maintain health. Walking even 7,000 steps a day can reduce the risk of premature death by 70%. Walking can help improve mental health, reduce depression and anxiety, prevent dementia and heart disease, control diabetes, protect joints, improve lung function, and even slow down aging. Experts recommend that regular, moderate, and consistent walking, such as brisk walking, works best, and encourages walking with friends to add motivation, strengthen physical and mental connections, and strengthen social support. News highlights. In the face of the impact of the declining birth rate, the number of new students in Taiwan's higher education has dropped sharply in the past 10 years. Mingzi University of Science and Technology jumped from 53rd to 12th, becoming the most improved school. Sun Yat-sen University and Taiwan Normal University also jumped sharply. The University of Chinese Medicine is firmly at the top of the private school. The University of Science and Technology shows the strength of the merger, and the University of Science and Technology wins the first place in green energy. Minister of Education Cheng Yingyu called on universities to break the competitive mindset and join hands to form a national team to create a new Taiwan Higher Education Bureau through cooperation and innovation. News highlights. The U.S. Stock Fear Index, VIX, fell to a year's low, and the S&P 500 index continued to approach record highs, indicating that the market's fear of Trump's tariff threat has waned. However, analysts warn of the risks associated with the widespread bet on the Trump always cowers, taco, strategy. Trump announced a number of tariff measures this week, but the market believes that most of them will not actually be implemented, causing the volatility index to remain low. Experts point out that the market's overconfidence may make Trump more daring to push for tariff policy, forming a vicious circle of policy and market reaction, and the potential risks cannot be ignored. News highlights. Mandani, a 33-year-old Indian Muslim congressman, defeated the establishment Cuomo to win the Democratic primary nomination for mayor of New York, and was widely supported by Generation Y and Z. In the face of the growing gap between the rich and the poor and the high cost of living in New York, he advocated freezing rents, taxing the rich, and promoting social welfare, in an effort to improve the plight of the grassroots. Its grassroots style and progressive policies were supported by more than 540,000 people, the highest number of votes in 36 years, and also aroused skepticism and attacks from the right. If elected, he will become the first Muslim mayor and rewrite New York's political landscape. News highlights. In Japan, due to a number of foreign driving accidents, the National Police Agency has revised the foreign driver's license renewal system, requiring applicants to submit a copy of their residence certificate, and excluding foreign tourists who have stayed for a short period of time to apply for license renewal. The number of written test questions has been increased from 10 to 50, and the passing standard has been raised to more than 90% of correct answers, and the skills test will also be more stringent. The new rules will be implemented as soon as October 1st. In 2024, the number of foreigners who obtain a Japanese driver's license by renewing their licenses will increase, but traffic accidents will also hit a new high in recent years. Taiwanese driver's license holders will not be affected due to bilateral agreements, but they need to be aware of the difference between left and right driving. News highlights in the first half of 2025, the revenue of listed companies is Honhai, 3.43 trillion yuan, TSMC, 1.77 trillion yuan, Quanta, 989.8 billion yuan, Wistron, 897.8 billion yuan, and Pegatron, 539.8 billion yuan, and all of them increased compared with the same period last year. The revenue growth king is Huangpu, with an annual growth rate of 667,638.6%. Bamboo Technology has grown revenue for 13 consecutive months and is regarded as the king of potential. The best performer in the newly listed company was Seidel Chuang, with a revenue growth of 285.8%. Experts expect that there are still opportunities for growth in the second half of the year, but the extent is limited. Electronics stocks are bullish on AI and semiconductors, while traditional production and financial stocks are facing challenges. News highlights: U.S. media reported that TSMC has taken advantage of the boom in demand for AI chips to become the winner of AI chips that is expected to surpass Nvidia. Although TSMC's growth is not as fast as Nvidia's revenue surge, with its dominant position in high-end chip foundry, there will be less competitive pressure in the future, and it is expected that AI-related chip revenue will double in 2025, with an annual growth rate of about 45% in 5 years. However, Trump's possible tariff policy on imported semiconductors has become the biggest challenge for TSMC. News highlights: Bitcoin, led by U.S. technology stocks, continued to climb, breaking through $112,000 for the first time on the 9th, hitting a record high, and the cumulative increase this year is nearly 20%. Strong demand from institutional investors, with listed companies buying faster than ETF inflows, is seen as a significant bullish for cryptocurrency. Although Bitcoin is still volatile with the stock market, investors are generally bullish on the second half of the year, expecting the price to challenge the $120,000 mark, especially as Washington's upcoming cryptocurrency legislative hearings strengthen market optimism. News highlights: after hip surgery and long-term rehabilitation, Xiao Yuchuan is now able to walk stably, and his old injuries have improved significantly. Recently, she was photographed carrying a 370,000 yuan LV bag and stepping out of the Eastern District Rehabilitation Center, and the little fresh meat assistant accompanied her with a 100,000 yuan Boyard bag. She is recovering well, training to return to the stage, and working as a mentor on the Chinese talent show Let Me Sing. The agent revealed that she had intensive rehabilitation and training 6 days a week, and went all out to get back on stage. News highlights: the United States announced that it would impose reciprocal tariffs on 22 countries, with tax rates ranging from 20% to 50%, and Taiwan's new tax rate has not yet been announced, causing concern. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said at the ASEAN summit that Southeast Asian countries could get better tax rates and that negotiations are still ongoing. The current tax rate is 20% in the Philippines and 40% in Myanmar and Laos. Taiwan's original tax rate was 32%, and it remains to be seen whether it will be adjusted. Brazil's tax rate has skyrocketed from 10% to 50%, making it the hardest hit country. News highlights: Typhoon Danas hit the central and northern parts of Tainan hard, causing more than 40,000 households in Tainan and Chi to suffer from long-term power outages. A chicken farm owner in Zhaigong, Tainan, pointed out that the area with dense photovoltaic panels has the longest power outage, and criticized the south-to-north power transmission policy for making power generation areas unusable. The drifting island of the powder expert was also criticized, but the photovoltaic village was powered out, resulting in unfair energy use. Taipower said that 2,500 poles collapsed in Taiwan, a record high, and it will continue to repair them and apologize to the affected households. News highlights: during the Hongkuang 41 exercise of the National Army, on the evening of the 10th, an M109A5 self-propelled artillery truck was performing a maneuver in the Dawan-Xinwu area, and it was suspected that it strayed into the side road due to unfamiliar road conditions, and collided with the house and the roadside vehicle, causing serious damage to a small truck, but fortunately no one was injured. The military confirmed the incident, and will compensate according to the insurance mechanism, and ordered the troops to strengthen the safety of driving at night to prevent similar incidents from happening again. News highlights: Taichung Feng Yuan family of 5 suspected gold fraud suicide case. Prosecutors and police traced the flow of money and fraud. Yesterday, 10, interviewed 5 pawnshops and 1 bank property owner. 3 of them were listed as fraud and money laundering defendants, after the retrial without bail to return. The family surnamed Wang is suspected of participating in the gold group purchase under the introduction of the beautician, and the collective suicide after accumulating tens of millions of debts. The prosecution continues to investigate the flow of funds and the relationship between the people involved in the case, and the whole case is still under investigation. News highlights: a female lawyer in Sichuan, China, who calls herself Zilu, was recently arrested for fraud, which has attracted attention. She pretended to be a lawyer, forged documents, and defrauded the client of about 4.4 million yuan, about 17.93 million Taiwan dollars, in the handling of the divorce case, and was exposed to the police after only returning 1 million yuan. Zilu Yuan is a senior partner of a law firm, and his background has not been verified because of his bright appearance and self-proclaimed excellent performance. It was later confirmed that she had not passed the legal examination at all, and was criminally detained by the police, and the case is still under investigation. News highlights: Sun Anzuo's cousin, internet celebrity Lin Muxi, Ariel, was involved in a love fraud case, was detained yesterday, 9, and was transferred to the Beijing Procuratorate today, 10, and after a re-interrogation in the evening, the original order was 50,000 yuan to be paid on bail, but due to the inability to raise funds, it was changed to be exempted from paying insurance money and restricting residence. The police found that the fraud group used internet celebrities to induce fans to shake their hearts and buy photos, and the suspected amount of money was huge, and dozens of people have been victimized. Lin Muxi's involvement in the case has aroused social concern, and the project team continues to track down other internet celebrities involved in the case. News highlights: singer Pollen released a new album, Allow Everything to Break, and recently talked about the creative process on pop radio. He mentioned that he had a broken mood after meeting his ex who had not been in touch for 5 years, and finally said in person, "Let's not keep in touch," and wrote this experience into the song Intimate Parallel. Lin went to Germany to shoot the MV, and was praised by the host for his physical performance. He also shared that when he was at a low ebb, he would follow dramas with chicken steak and milk to relieve stress, and regain his inner strength by accepting chaos and self-practice. News highlights: 32-year-old actress Chu Zixin has attracted attention for her performance in Sanli's Wish, and she recently revealed that she has completed the egg freezing treatment to increase flexibility for her future life. She said that egg freezing is to keep the body in the best condition and avoid sacrificing career and choices for childbirth in the future. The course of treatment is about 2 weeks, the ovulation needle is not too painful, and the egg retrieval operation only takes 30 minutes, and she still continues to film during the process. "The timing of our life list is up to us," says Yao. News highlights: K-pop king G-Dragon, GD, arrived in Taiwan on the 10th, and from now on, he will sing at the Taipei Arena for 3 consecutive days, attracting the attention of fans. However, the Bangkok venue originally scheduled for August 2nd was temporarily cancelled, and the organizers only said that it was due to unforeseen circumstances without further explanation, which caused dissatisfaction and discussion among fans. Some netizens speculated that it may be related to the local political instability. Taipei will be held as usual, with subsequent sessions including Kuala Lumpur, Jakarta, and Hong Kong remaining as scheduled. News highlights: Su Ziwan, died of illness in February at the age of 48, and his mother's mother, Huang Chunmei, is still unable to get out of the pain of losing her daughter. In the early morning of today, 11th, S.'s mother posted a message on Facebook asking for help, openly soliciting friends who meet the 3 conditions of being able to drive, positive energy, and matching work, hoping that someone can accompany her for a walk, and emphasizing that the cost is negotiable. Netizens left messages encouraging her to be strong in the face of grief and hoping that she would get out of the haze as soon as possible. News highlights: actress Bai Xinru, Bai, shared her marital experience today, 10, revealing that she had been emotionally blackmailed, suppressed and humiliated when she got along with her ex-husband, and was even forbidden to mention the identity of the other party's police. She stressed that she is not consuming the past, but hopes to remind others with her own experience that if there is cold violence in marriage, it should be stopped in time. Bai confessed that this 4-year marriage was the biggest mistake in life and the deepest humiliation. News highlights: artist Xiao Zhong recently revealed on the show that he was not in good condition for recording, and he only said 2 sentences in the whole episode, and was soured by the host. "Do you still want to take money?" Was banned from the show for 2 years afterwards. He recalled that he drank too much at the meeting, drunk in the toilet and vomited and went to the emergency room, and still insisted on the notice the next day, but the result was not good, which made him quite ashamed, and he took the initiative to hope that the production unit would not pay the notice fee. News highlights: numerology expert Liao Yuhua reminded that in the second half of 2025, there are 3 zodiac signs that are particularly prone to emotional fraud, and they need to be vigilant. Dogs are afraid of being caught in peach-colored traps and being blackmailed by the other party who asks them to take sensitive pictures. Monkey people are easily attracted by high-end images and are deceived into participating in false investments. Pig people are overly sympathetic and moved by tragic stories and overaid, resulting in financial losses. Experts call for the need to be rational in the face of love and protect emotional and property safety. News highlights: Su Shubo, chairman of the All China Chamber of Commerce of the Republic of China, called on the government on the 10th to clearly explain the progress of tariff negotiations with the United States, and said that if the final Taiwan tax rate is still as high as more than 20%, the Taiwan authorities should apologize to the people. He pointed out that Taiwan has not been included in the two waves of tariff lists of the United States, and the industry is worried about the impact on its export competitiveness, especially since Taiwan has not yet joined the Regional Free Trade Agreement, and is already at a disadvantage. The administration responded that Taiwan and the United States are still continuing consultations and remain optimistic about the progress. News highlights the 14 financial holdings made a total profit of more than 60 billion yuan in June, turning into a profit from a loss in May, an accumulative profit of about 219.2 billion yuan in the first half of the year, a decrease of about 35% year-on-year. Fubon Gold continued to be the champion with earnings per share of 3.49 yuan, while Cathay Gold, Yuantai Gold and CITIC Gold also performed well. Shinkong Gold turned a profit in a single month, but it still lost 29.5 billion yuan cumulatively, making it the only loss-making financial holding. In response to the impact of the appreciation of the new Taiwan dollar, the FSC has introduced temporary measures to help the life insurance industry improve its foreign exchange loss. On the whole, only 4 of the 14 financial holdings grew in profit in the first half of the year, and most of them were affected by the appreciation of the new Taiwan dollar and the depreciation of the US dollar, and their profits declined. News highlights a woman surnamed Lin in the South received a call from a person claiming to be a commissioner of the Financial Supervisory Commission, and was told that the account was suspected of money laundering, and then received a video call from a fake police officer and a prosecutor, asking her to transfer the deposit to a designated account, and threatened not to make the investigation public. Lin Nuxin believed that it was true and transferred money several times, losing more than 18 million yuan. The Criminal Bureau reminds that the police will not use video conferencing to make records, and the court will not notify the supervised account, and should be vigilant when encountering keywords such as investigation is not public and account involves money laundering. The FSC stresses that it will never take the initiative to ask the public to provide information, and it is recommended to call the 165 anti-fraud hotline immediately if you receive a suspicious call. News highlights on July 26, Taiwan will hold an unprecedented mass recall vote, involving Hsinchu Mayor Gao Honggan and 24 Kuomintang legislators. The result of the recall will affect the number of seats in the National Assembly, and if the KMT is removed from more than 3 seats, it will need to rely on the support of the People's Party to maintain the majority. More than 11 seats could result in a loss of majority, giving the DPP control of the National Assembly. The results of the by-elections will also determine the direction of parliamentary power. Behind the recall is the problem of the confrontation between the executive and the legislative, and the KMT may adjust its line in the future, and constitutional reform will become the key to avoiding the deadlock. The results of this recall will have far-reaching implications for the 2026 electoral landscape. News highlights: after Typhoon Danas moved away from Taiwan on the 7th, the rain in the north slowed down, but the central and southern parts were still affected by heavy rainfall and flooding, and the first Typhoon Inchi in 120 years made landfall, causing serious damage. From the 8th to the 10th, the rainfall in the central and southern parts of the country reached a purple explosion, and the agricultural loss exceeded 2 billion yuan, mainly concentrated in Tainan, Qi, and Yunlin, and the loss of Wendan pomelo fruit was serious, and the harvest was left in 1 to 3%. Taipower counted nearly 1 million power outages, and 2,454 power poles collapsed, a record high. There were more than 9,000 disasters in Taiwan, resulting in 2 deaths and 718 injuries, and Tainan was the most affected. News highlights: the seizure of the Zheikao Fintech company by the Taipei District Court has drawn attention to the rights and interests of its subsidiary, Zheikao Pay, an electronic payment leader with 6.58 million users. Zheikao Pay emphasizes that as an independent electronic payment institution supervised by the Financial Supervisory Commission, all user funds are 100% protected by trust, and its business and financial operations are not affected by the civil procedures of the parent company, and its operations and user services remain normal. The seizure stemmed from the Taipei District Court's judgment that Zheikao Fintech sold 4% of its equity for 3.6 billion yuan to be invalid, and the money needed to be returned, and Taishan Company was allowed to perform falsely. News highlights: Lu Boren, a nutritional medicine expert, reminded that if the lump is painless and lasts for more than 2 weeks, the texture is hard and fixed, or accompanied by symptoms such as weight loss, fever, and night sweats, it may be a warning sign of cancer metastasis, and you should seek medical attention as soon as possible. Most lumps are benign and often cause swollen lymph nodes due to infection that resolve as the infection improves. However, if the abnormality persists, it is necessary to confirm the diagnosis through ultrasound, blood draw and fine needle aspiration section, and early diagnosis and treatment is appropriate. News highlights: a man in his 20s was diagnosed with pointed warts, cauliflower, after multiple small granulations were found, but he reported no sexual experience and was suspected to be infected by the use of unclean equipment or towels in the gym. Doctors point out that genital warts are caused by human papillomavirus, HPV, and are mainly transmitted through sex, but they can also be indirectly infected when the skin is broken. The man was treated with electrocautery and advised to change his underwear and return to the clinic after 3 months. Doctors remind that abnormal protrusions in the genital area should be seen as soon as possible to avoid delaying treatment. News highlights: in 2025, the growth of the global auto market will be sluggish, and Taiwan's buying will be sluggish due to the uncertainty of tariffs and tax systems. New car sales in the US increased slightly but actually declined, and prices fell. Although sales in the Chinese market have climbed, profits have fallen due to fierce price wars, and the government has tightened control over competitive behavior. Chinese automakers such as BYD have been aggressively cutting prices to grab the market and accelerating their expansion into the European market, doubling their market share and becoming a major competitor in the EV market. The penetration rate of electric vehicles in Europe continues to increase, the traditional fuel vehicle market is shrinking rapidly, and the global auto market is facing structural transformation pressure. News highlights: the Nationalist Army's Han Kuang No. 41 exercise entered its 3rd day, and in addition to continuous material and manpower mobilization, all units began to build fortifications. The Army's 206th Brigade conducted a combat exercise in Luzhu, Dawan, and the Central and Southern Engineering units began to build interdiction facilities. The Air Force conducted a hot refueling drill for fighter jets in the east to improve the efficiency of sorties. In the southern part of the country, some units have been converted to disaster relief support, and some defense exercise areas have been cancelled due to the disaster, and the whole is still in the stage of mobilization and rearmament in the gray area of the Navy and Air Force. News highlights: Trump recently announced plans to impose sweeping tariffs of 15% or 20% on most trading partners, and dismissed concerns that tariffs would hit the stock market and push up inflation. He said that some countries have not yet received tariff notices, but the United States is studying adjusting the tax rate, and the basic tariff will remain at 10%. Trump stressed that the tariffs have been accepted by the market, and the stock market continues to hit new highs. So far, 23 countries have received the latest tariff notices, including a 35% reciprocal tariff on Canada, a 50% reciprocal tariff on Brazil, and a Taiwanese tariff rate that has not yet been announced. News highlights: a drowning incident occurred under the Guangxing Bridge in Xindian, and 2 firefighters died bravely in the line of duty, causing a tragedy of 3 deaths with the 58-year-old drowning man surnamed Chen. Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, lawmaker Li Yuxiang alleged that the day after the incident, grassroots volunteers received a mobilization order to participate in the anti-recall activities held by the Kuomintang on July 19, and made public the record of the dialogue, naming Kuomintang legislator Hung Menkai as involved in the mobilization. The New Taipei Fire Department denied forced mobilization, while Li questioned the city's cooperation with the political mobilization, which may violate administrative neutrality. News highlights: the Taipei District Court continued to hear K. Wen's case involving Jinghua City, and the prosecutor said that K had no objection to the assistant's receipt of 10 million yuan in cash from the religious figure Wuzhu Miaotian, and decided not to summon Miaotian and other witnesses. Lin Shifeng, a pharmacist who called the money a Miaotian donation to the Zhongwang Foundation, had nothing to do with the case, and cited lawyer Lin's Heekin to slap his face, pointing out that religious groups are not allowed to donate political donations, and the methods of approving K to collect money are not transparent, questioning the issue of illegality and integrity, which has aroused heated discussions. News highlights: the recall war in Taiwan is heating up, and the 3rd phase of voting will be held on July 26, and a number of blue camp legislators actively visit the grassroots to save the momentum. The entertainment industry also joined the ranks of expressing her position, and veteran actress Lee Min-ji publicly shouted disagree with the recall, which was strongly supported by netizens. Chen Wei, the winner of the Golden Horse male match, took to the streets to support the recall of Lai Shibao, shouting the great success of the recall, which sparked heated discussions on the internet. The positions of the two sides are clear, and the recall turmoil continues to burn. News highlights: media personality Li Zhengao once again criticized People's Party legislator Mak Yuzhen, pointing out that not only the content of the question is absurd, but also the basic literacy ability is problematic. He revealed that Mak had repeatedly mistaken freedom of movement as freedom of movement and maritime security as sea city security in past inquiries, questioned his quality and incompetence with the duties of a legislator, and angrily denounced Mak Yukshan as a shame for the parliament that receives 200,000 yuan a month. Li's call for the People's Party to lose key seats through the recall and restore the normal functioning of the political arena has sparked heated discussions. News highlights: Kuomintang legislator Wang Hongwei is facing a recall crisis, and today, 11th, spoke with Taipei Mayor Zhang Wanan on the street, urging a disagree with the recall vote. However, when talking about his birthday wishes in an interview, Wang once blurted out a big success of the recall, mispronounced the slogan of the recall supporters, and then corrected it to a big failure, but it has caused on-site reporters to burst into laughter and heated discussions among netizens, who have left messages and ridiculed, laughing that they will help her wish come true. News highlights: although Typhoon Dennis has collapsed, its remnant cloud system and southwesterly winds continue to bring heavy rain to southern Taiwan. The Meteorological Department issued a special report on heavy rain today, 11th, with the chance of localized heavy rain or heavy rain in Kinmen, Kaohsiung, and Pingtung, and short-term heavy rainfall and strong winds may also occur from Zhonghua to Tainan. Weather anchor Lin Jiakai reminded that the rain will continue until this Saturday, with brief showers in the south after the weekend, and there is still a chance of rain in other areas in the afternoon, so you need to continue to pay attention to weather changes and disaster risks. News highlights. Recently, there have been a series of cases of domestic violence in violation of protection orders in New Taipei City, which has raised questions about the validity of protection orders. A man in Dujin killed his wife and sister-in-law in violation of the order, and a man in Xindian was sentenced to 2 months in prison and fined 60,000 yuan for biting his wife's shoulder. The Ministry of Health and Welfare said it would convene an interministerial meeting to discuss the establishment of a fatal danger list to help identify high-risk perpetrators and strengthen the effectiveness of protection orders. Officials also admit that protection orders are not a panacea, but about 80% of cases effectively play a protective role. News highlights. A fatal car accident occurred in Baita District, Taipei City on the 10th, when a 35-year-old man surnamed Lin drove a pickup truck to turn left. He hit a 75-year-old woman surnamed Zheng, and the Zheng woman was still declared dead after being sent to the hospital for first aid. The accident occurred at the intersection of Zaiwan First Road and Xi'an Street, and the measured value of Lin Nan's liquor was 0, and the police are clarifying the responsibility for the accident and have investigated it according to the crime of negligent death. Police remind drivers to stop and yield to pedestrians when crossing zebra crossings to ensure traffic safety. News highlights. 37-year-old theater actor Zhou Yi shared his journey of fighting cancer with the community after suffering from lymphoma for 8 years. She admitted that in the early days of her illness, she had chemotherapy that caused weakness in her lower body and she was worried that she would not be able to walk, but she also re-examined her life. She has gone from desperately chasing money and social recognition to pursuing freedom and health, and realized that being able to walk, eat, and take care of herself is happiness. News highlights. A 38-year-old man surnamed Jiao disguised himself as a woman and pretended to be Sister Hong, using his soft voice and filters on the internet to lure at least 1,691 men into having bareback sex and secretly filming sex videos for profit. The police have detained him on suspicion of disseminating obscene materials, and the CDC has also intervened in the investigation and urged the contacts to get tested as soon as possible. If he knows that he is infected with sexually transmitted diseases and still has sex with multiple people, he may be involved in endangering public safety, and the maximum sentence is life imprisonment. The incident has aroused public opinion, and the official investigation is ongoing. News highlights. On the 10th, the Taipei District Court tried the bribery case of former Mayor K. Wen's involving Jinghua City, and the prosecutor pointed out that K did not object to the assistant Su Zaiu's receipt of 10 million yuan in cash from Zen master Wu Zhou Miaotian, so Miaotian was no longer summoned to testify. K's legal team also had no objections. Lawyer Huang Daiying criticized the People's Party for taking advantage of the recall turmoil to launder K Wen's, but K himself admitted that he received Miaotian cash and the Kuomintang Xie donated 2 million yuan through his assistant, suspected of embezzlement of political donations. News highlights. A 38-year-old man surnamed Jiao pretended to be a woman, lured a number of men into having sex without condoms with his soft voice and makeup, and secretly filmed videos and uploaded them for profit. The victims included fitness trainers, university students, married people, and foreigners, and at least 3 people were infected with sexually transmitted diseases, HIV. The police have criminally detained Jiao Nan on suspicion of disseminating obscene materials on the 6th of this month, and the CDC has intervened to test and alert close contacts. According to Chinese law, if you know that you have sexually transmitted diseases and still have unprotected sex with multiple people, you can be sentenced to death, and the case is still under investigation. News highlights. After the death of S.'s mother was deeply in the pain of losing her daughter, although she went to the physical and mental health department and took a heart booster, her condition did not improve, and she even wanted to seek help from theology. Today, 11th, she openly asked for companionship friends on Facebook, hoping that someone could accompany her to go out for a walk, including being able to drive, warm and sunny, and matching with life and rest, and the cost was negotiable. She confessed to severe insomnia, emotional breakdown, and cried out, "Can someone save me?" Many netizens left messages of support, hoping that she would get out of the pain as soon as possible. News highlights. July 11th is the birthday of the 7-Eleven Mascot Open Show, and convenience stores have set off a wave of interactive celebrations. The whole family posted a message on Facebook to congratulate and launched weekend discounts, including buy one get one free ice cream, 10 yuan for the second cup of American/latte items, etc. 7-Eleven responded to the congratulations and offered multiple coffee discounts such as buy 11 get 11 free for an extra large cup of strong American and 215 cups of 7,111 yuan for a large cup of American/latte. Laifu also humorously participated in the war and launched designated instant noodles buy one get one free. The 3 major supermarkets celebrated their birthdays together, and the discount lasted until July 15th. attracting consumers to rush to buy. News highlights: Hong Kong veteran director Wang Jing recently revealed on YouTube that the reason for the suicide of the late King Leslie Cheung was related to career ups and downs, depression, and the shattering of directorial dreams. Leslie Cheung did not open his popularity on TV in Lee in his early years, and later became popular with Monica, but his film and television development was frustrated, and he was booed by the audience, so that he temporarily left the fluorescent screen. After returning with Golden Branches and Jade Leaves, he stood firm as a superstar, but he was plagued by depression. Wang Jing pointed out that Leslie Cheung once wanted to make his directorial debut, but the plan was aborted due to the imprisonment of the gold owner, which became the key to his emotional breakdown, which eventually led to tragedy. News highlights: UMC founder CAO Xing Cheng, who was formerly an advisor to President Lai Ching-te's Whole of Society Defense Resilience Committee, has recently disappeared from the list on the official website of the presidential office. Ling Tao, deputy executive director of the Kuomintang think tank, questioned whether the National Security Bureau's investigation found that Red forces had infiltrated him, which led to CAO Xing Cheng's dismissal. In February this year, CAO Xing Cheng was questioned about being influenced by Red forces because of his relationship with a mainland woman. In response, the presidential office said that CAO Xing Cheng had voluntarily resigned as an advisor at the Third Committee meeting on June 26 and would continue to promote national defense and security work among the people. This personnel change has aroused attention and discussion from the outside world. News highlights: the U.S. think tank Defense Focus suggested that the United States withdraw about 500 instructors stationed in Taiwan to avoid being interpreted as a provocation, but former Marine Corps Colonel Kan Sion believes that the United States attaches great importance to Taiwan's defense and is unlikely to reduce its military station. The report pointed out that the U.S. military stationed in Taiwan violated the commitment not to station troops and the military training was not effective, so it was recommended to move back to the mainland. Kan Sion and experts from the Institute for Indo-Pacific Security Studies stressed that instructors stationed in Taiwan assist the Taiwan military in self-defense and wartime cooperation, and the withdrawal may affect stability in the Taiwan Strait. U.S. Secretary of Defense Hegseth also reaffirmed the importance of stationing in the Western Pacific and defending Taiwan, demonstrating the U.S. resolve. News highlights: according to the salary statistics released by the Controller and Auditor General of the Executive Yuan, the average recurrent salary of all employees was 47,796 yuan, an increase of 0.08% month-on-month and 2.88% year-on-year. After adding bonuses and overtime pay, the average total salary reached 61,902 yuan, an increase of 11.56% month-on-month and 7.20% year-on-year. The average recurring salary of full-time employees in the industrial and service industries is about 50,483 yuan, the non-recurring salary is 15,059 yuan, and the total salary is 65,542 yuan, mainly affected by the year-end bonus of the Dragon Boat Festival. The recurring salary of some part-time employees is about 20,982 yuan. The salary data has sparked heated discussions among netizens, with many people saying that it is getting farther and farther away and questioning the salary gap. News highlights: in the second quarter, Deligwang, a major optical lens manufacturer, lost 4.22 billion yuan in foreign exchange, with net profit down 84% quarter-on-quarter and earnings per share falling to 7.73 yuan, a new low in a single quarter in 13 years. Despite the weak earnings performance, the stock price rebounded quickly after opening lower, rising more than 3% against the trend, becoming the focus of Taiwan stocks. Chairman Lin Enping said that the appreciation of the new Taiwan dollar will affect the gross profit margin by about 2 percentage points in the third quarter is supported by new models and peak seasons, and the performance is expected to recover, and the variable aperture lens project in 2026 will bring upgrade momentum. In addition, supply issues affected by export controls on rare earths have improved. News highlights: Dingsuan KY, 8,499, distributed a cash dividend of 8.062 yuan per share last year, and on the day of the ex-dividend on July 11, it opened at 233 yuan to fill the interest, and the stock price continued to rise to 240.5 yuan, a record high. The company actively promoted the HVLP 5 Plus high-end copper foil market, with revenue of 164 million yuan in June, down 1% quarter-on-quarter and 2.29% year-on-year. The cumulative revenue in the first half of the year was 1.032 billion yuan, an annual increase of 10.09%. Through the acquisition of the equity of Changzhou Weisai Shuanglian Technology and Suzhou New Materials through its subsidiary, Longyang Electronics, it is expected that revenue will be recognized in the second half of the year, helping to double future revenue. Fu Qingxian, chairman of the board, said that the 5 cell factories will be expanded simultaneously to support the continuous development of market growth. News highlights: on July 11, a total of 9 high-dividend ETFs issued cash dividends totaling 19.41 billion yuan, benefiting about 2.51 million investors. Among them, the dividend distribution of CUNY Taiwan Select High Dividend ETF, 00919, maintained a new high, with a one-time payment of 9,889 yuan, which translates to about 3,296 yuan per month, benefiting more than 1.3 million investors. Experts pointed out that high-yield ETFs are stable in distribution and resilient to declines, making them an ideal choice for long-term stable investment and stockholders. 00919 adopts quarterly distribution, and the distribution has grown steadily over the years, which is suitable for investors who pursue stable cash flow. Fund managers suggest that after the ex-dividend, they can take advantage of the low price to lay out, and accumulate holdings through regular and fixed amounts, so as to enjoy the dual income of dividends and price differences. News highlights: July 11th is the birthday of 7-Eleven mascot Open General, and Family Mart and Laifu also joined in the celebration, and the three major supermarkets interacted and congratulated each other on social platforms. The whole family has launched a 10 yuan discount on ice cream and a 10 yuan discount for the second cup of coffee, while 7-Eleven is offering a 11 get 11 free extra large cup of strong American style and a variety of coffee combination promotions. The three supermarkets have joined forces to drive birthday celebrations to attract consumers to rush to buy on weekends, with the promotion period extending until July 13th or longer. News highlights: US President Donald Trump announced a third wave of new tariffs on Canada, imposing 35% tariffs, accusing Canada of failing to stop fentanyl from flowing into the US and imposing retaliatory tariffs on the US. While the other 23 countries have already set their tax rates, Taiwan has yet to be notified and negotiations are not yet clear. US stocks have limited volatility this week, with Nvidia shares continuing to rise and TSMC ADR falling slightly. Wall Street analysts believe that Trump's move may be a pressure strategy, announcing tariffs in batches to force countries to negotiate, and the market reaction is relatively cold. Japan and South Korea are accelerating negotiations to mitigate the impact of the tariffs. News highlights: according to the salary statistics released by the Comptroller and Auditor's Office in May, the average real recurrent salary of the industrial and service industries in the first 5 months of this year was 43,572 yuan, an annual increase of 0.96%, the largest increase in 5 years. Real gross salary increased by 1.65% year-on-year, hitting a 4-year high. In May, the average recurring salary of all employees was 47,796 yuan, an annual increase of 2.88%, and the average total salary reached 61,902 yuan, an annual increase of 7.20%. The average recurrent salary in the first 5 months was 47,568 yuan, an annual increase of 3.02%, the highest in the same period in 25 years. The slowdown in price growth has helped real wages continue to grow positively. News highlights: on July 2nd, Taiwan's Louis Vuitton discovered that the system had been hacked by a third party without authorization, and some customers' personal information was suspected to have been leaked, including name, gender, nationality, contact information, purchase records and passport numbers, but no passwords or financial information were involved. LV has identified the source of the incident, strengthened system protection, and notified the competent authority and information security experts to deal with it. The official reminded customers to be wary of any unofficial contact, do not disclose passwords, and stressed that information security protection will continue to be strengthened, and apologize for the inconvenience caused by the incident. News highlights today, 10th, an EVA flight flew from Darwin to Phnom Penh, Cambodia. 2 passengers openly smoked e-cigarettes in business class and economy class, ignoring the persuasion of flight attendants, and were taken away by the aviation police and sent to justice, resulting in a delay of more than 2 hours. The passengers on the plane were ashamed and helpless about this behavior, and pointed out that the behavior of some young Taiwanese people has damaged the international image. The aviation police said that the matter had been dealt with in accordance with the civil aviation law. News highlights: on July 9th, the Consumer Foundation announced the 2025 chia seed, flaxseed, and quinoa survey, and found that 3 of the 24 products contained cadmium and lead exceeding the standard. 2 cases of flaxseed contained excessive levels of cadmium, and 1 case of quinoa contained levels close to the upper limit of the standard. Although no heavy metal limit standards were set for chia seeds, arsenic and lead were detected in accordance with the reference standards. The Consumer Foundation reminds that cadmium is harmful to kidney bones and lead affects children's neurological development, and recommends that the competent authorities strengthen random inspection to ensure consumer safety. News highlights: Typhoon Dennis struck Nankun Dai Tianfu, causing the collapse of the 42-year-old archway and 12,000-year-old red cypress pillars with a height of 14 meters and a diameter of about 81 centimeters, causing losses of tens of millions of yuan. The temple has started the removal operation, only the stone base is left and fenced at the site, the main hall and the safe area are still open, and the believers are urged to pay attention to safety. The temple said that it would clean up the scene as soon as possible to assist in the disaster relief, and hope to provide more help to the victims. News highlights: a high school student surnamed Yang in Taichung was disqualified from admission by 4 medical schools because he exaggerated his learning process, and even Chonggung Medical Department was disqualified. A month after precipitation, he posted on IG to thank him for his support and criticism, saying that he would start again to take the sub-subject test, and wished all candidates all the best. Netizens expressed positive encouragement, hoping that he could be admitted to the ideal school department. The incident has aroused concern and reminded candidates to take the test honestly. News highlights: Sister Hong in Nanjing, China, is suspected of having bareback sex with more than 1,600 men as a woman and secretly filming, which has sparked heated discussions. A female netizen shared the incident with her brother and asked, "Can't those men tell he's a man?" The younger brother replied, "It's all here." It resonated with netizens, thinking that men understand men best. Sister Hong uses beauty filters and false voices to attract men, and exchanges sex with peanut oil, fruits, etc. Some men fight back angrily after discovering the truth, and some accept and come to the door many times. The local CDC has intervened to investigate and remind close contacts that their health status can be tested. News highlights: Typhoon Donas hit southern Taiwan hard, and a pig farm in Yazhou Township, Chi, died of high-voltage electricity on the evening of the 9th due to a power leakage accident. On the 10th, Wen Lin's Haida, chairman of the Pig Association, and the staff of the Animal Protection Department investigated, the surviving pigs at the scene suddenly screamed, and then fell to the ground and died violently with blood explosion in 7 holes, causing serious losses and shocking everyone. Relevant units have intervened in the investigation, and the owner is crying without tears after losing his livestock. News highlights: in the 100th anniversary of its establishment, National Chi Girls High School enrolled 30 boys in special classes for the first time, breaking the history of all girls schools. A total of 455 girls and 30 boys were enrolled, and more than 2/3 of the new students met the criteria for gifted classes and experimental classes, including humanities and social sciences, mathematics and physics, AI and medical technology experimental classes. The school has taken stock of swimming pools, toilets, and other facilities to meet the requirements of gender equality, and added a variety of school uniforms and sports uniforms to emphasizing the continuous optimization of the learning environment and diversified curriculum, so as to improve the quality and learning efficiency of admissions. News highlights: K-Wave King G-Dragon, GD, has been singing at Taipei Arena for 3 consecutive days since the 11th, and has come to Taiwan again after 8 years. On the evening of July 10th, there was a long queue near Breeze Nanjing, extending from Dunhua North Road to Section 3 of Nanjing East Road, showing GD's super popularity and fan enthusiasm. GD's last solo performance was in 2017, and fans are looking forward to their return this time. News highlights: South Korean singer KCM, Kang Chong-mo, only made public the news for the first time in April this year that he was married and had 2 daughters, which surprised fans. On July 8, he announced on Instagram that he would welcome his 3rd child and released a new song, "You Are the Most Beautiful in My Eyes," revealing that this song was inspired by the upcoming birth of a new life. He also shared photos of fetal ultrasound to share the joy with fans. KCM married his wife, who was 9 years younger, in 2021, and their 2 daughters were born in 2012 and 2022 respectively. Since their debut in 2004, KCM has become famous for his love songs, and in recent years, the popularity of the variety boy group Message Wannabe has increased. News highlights: Kinmen County was hit by a heavy thunderstorm in the early morning of the 11th, and the meteorological department issued an instant message of heavy thunderstorms and a first-level flooding alert. Jinsha Town and Jinhu Town have serious water accumulation in many places, and the roads are covered with earthy yellow mud and sand, and the drainage is not smooth, resulting in ankle-length flooding of the road surface. Sorghum fields near the Jinsho Reservoir have been turned into ponds, and cattle are trapped in the water. The accumulated rainfall is approaching 300 mm, the farmland is seriously flooded, and some trees have fallen to block the road. News highlights: after the passage of Typhoon Donas, on the 6th day of the power outage in Sankingli, Suejia District, Tainan, there were people on the internet who called for rescue and questioned that the supplies were stuck in the hands of the lieutenant chief. A field investigation by China television reporters found that hot bento boxes were distributed every day in the local area, and the elderly with reduced mobility also received meal delivery services. Li Chongguo-rongui personally clarified the rumors, saying that all the materials were distributed according to the plan, and accused the online rumors of malicious smearing. At present, the people in the affected areas are still most concerned about getting through the reconstruction phase smoothly. News highlights: according to the forecast models of Europe and the United States, a strong low-pressure system may develop over the eastern sea of the Philippines around July 19, and a typhoon may occur. Under the influence of the southwest monsoon and the Pacific high pressure, the weather system shows signs of expansion, reminding the public to pay attention to meteorological changes and take precautions against possible typhoons. News highlights: the Chinese women's basketball team is about to go to the 2nd level of the Asian Cup, but it is rumored that head coach Oh Yu-sen was suddenly replaced, and he did not go abroad with the team, and assistant coach Chu Ki-ai will take over the Soldiers. This move shocked the football world, because the first match will be played this Sunday, 13th, the Chinese team played Tahiti, India, and Kazakhstan for 3 consecutive days, striving to win all the promotions, compete for the championship, and aim to return to the Asian Cup first-class competition. News highlights: the American diet website Eat This, Not That announced that 12 unhealthy drinks in the world, many of which are claimed to be healthy, are actually surprisingly sugary, far exceeding the recommended daily intake, and are prone to cause health problems such as diabetes and high cholesterol. At the top of the list was Arizona Ginseng Honey Green Tea, followed by Naked Mango Smoothie and Monster Energy Drink. Other drinks on the list include Starbucks Frappuccino, Pepsi, and Welch's Grape Juice. Experts warn that when choosing a drink, you should avoid hidden sources of sugar such as high fructose syrup and fruit juice concentrate. News highlights: the Legislative Yuan held a session today, 11th, to review the special regulations on Homeland Security resilience with a total amount of 410 billion yuan, and the Kuomintang planned to promote the issuance of 10,000 yuan in cash, but the grassroots backlash suspended the regulations. The People's Party proposed to list the case as the first one, and the Kuomintang also proposed an amended version, deleting the 100 billion yuan allocated by Taypower, reorganizing 230 billion yuan in general cash and 150 billion yuan in land and social resilience, and the total budget was revised upwards to 540 billion yuan, which aroused the attention of the government and the public. News highlights: a woman in Pingtung was resting at a friend's residence after drinking alcohol last year, and was sexually assaulted by 3 men in turn. In the criminal part, 3 people were sentenced to prison from 7 years and 6 months to 9 years and 10 months, all of whom are on appeal. In terms of civil affairs, the woman claimed 4 million yuan in spiritual solace, and the court considered the economic and victim circumstances of both parties, and ruled that Huang Nan and Yang Nan jointly and severally compensated 3 million yuan, and the whole case can still be appealed. News highlights: a car accident occurred in the East District of Taichung City in the early morning of the 11th, when a recreational vehicle turned left and collided violently with a motorcycle rider in his 20s. The rider lost signs of life on the spot, the door of the RV was dented, the wheels were crooked, the parts on the scene were scattered, and the driver looked sluggish. The cause of the accident is still under investigation by the police, and the responsibility will be clarified by the surveillance camera. News highlights: a noblewoman who once married into a wealthy family, after the divorce, because it was difficult to adapt to ordinary life, she fell into the trap of loan sharks, and finally repaid her debts with her body, and was also tragically secretly filmed intimate videos, and her image was severely damaged. Senior media person Lin Yufeng revealed that although she had 100,000 yuan in alimony per month after the divorce, it was still difficult to maintain her luxurious life in the past, and she fell into a financial crisis, which eventually led to a distorted life, which is embarrassing. News highlights: affected by the low-pressure zone and southwest winds, the Meteorological Department issued a special report on heavy rain in 8 counties and cities including Kinmen, Kaohsiung, Pingtung, and Tainan in the early morning of this, 11th, and issued an instant message on heavy thunderstorms in Kinmen to remind them to guard against short-term heavy rainfall and lightning strikes. Meteorological experts pointed out that the moisture will decrease and the rain will slow down from tonight, and the Pacific high pressure will dominate from the weekend, and the weather will be cloudy to clear, but there will still be localized thunder showers in the afternoon. The temperature is rising, as high as 35 degrees in the western half, and there is a fear of feign winds in the southeast on the 13th, so it is necessary to prevent heat stroke and geological disasters in the mountainous areas. News highlights: in the Trump 2.0 era, global changes have become the norm, with repeated tariff policies, sharp fluctuations in exchange rates and interest rates, and Taiwanese companies are facing gray rhinoceros-like financial challenges. Yushin Financial Holdings proposed a 3-pillar strategy for resilient enterprises, strengthening financial constitution, stable operation, and long-term strategic layout, and suggested that 3 measures should be adopted to improve the company's earthquake resistance. Only by building financial and operational resilience in the midst of volatility can we turn crises into opportunities, buck the trend and meet the uncertain global economic waves ahead.